Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Police in Durham are working to make an arrest after an early morning shooting on Stadium Drive. What we are learning about the person shot, as well as the search for the shooter.
And stepping outside to fog in some places. I'll show you where it is the thickest as you're headed out the door.
No power and no cell service. That's what the people of Tryon are still dealing with almost a week after Helene rolled through this area. We'll have the latest on recovery efforts here in Western North Carolina.
And new efforts to help the people of Western North Carolina are leaving our area today. This is a live look inside the Raleigh Executive Jetport in Sanford. And look at all those supplies and donations, how you can help get much needed support to people who are suffering. And out in Western North Carolina, two things can be true at once: challenges in progress, heartbreak and hope. And we'll hear from Heidi Kirk out in Sanford on those relief efforts, as well as Monica Casey in the town of Tryon. Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. It is great to have you along here, making us part of your routine here. Recover, rebuild, return. And we are starting to see the latter happening out west. Elizabeth Gardner, meantime, here locally, our WRAL Severe Weather Center, and seeing some fog around our area, lots of places.
We are. Take a look at Franklinton, of course, just north of Wake County. You can see some pretty significant fog there downtown. Our temperature in the Triangle is in the mid-60s and our dew point's at 64. So it's feeling a little more comfortable for us, but definitely seeing some fog in spots. Quarter-mile visibility is what we would expect to see as fog. And we're seeing that in Roxborough and Goldsboro, half a mile in Durham, Raleigh, and Wilson. We head down to the south, and down here in Southern Pines, it's a quarter of a mile, as well as Goldsboro. So you may run into some fog in places. It's not everywhere. But where we do see it, it's likely to stick with us up until around 8, 9, or 10 o'clock. And then during the afternoon, we should really break out of the clouds nicely. Anywhere from 25 to 30% of the sky will be covered with clouds. So looking forward to that sunshine. Highs will also climb into the low 80s, a little bit warmer than yesterday, just a tiny chance of a shower. We continue to watch the potential for development here in the Gulf of Mexico, but it's down now from 40% to 30%. It looks like a front would keep all this moisture to the south, but bring some very heavy rain to parts of Florida. We'll take a closer look at that coming up. Ken?
Elizabeth, our live traffic map showing the fog that you just mentioned covering Wake County and surrounding communities this morning. We are monitoring a crash this morning on Creedmoor Road. You can see it right here. It's a serious crash. And just in the last 10 minutes, we got an update that this was a two-vehicle crash. Initially, we were getting reports that somebody was pinned, but both drivers were able to get out safely, suffering some minor cuts and bruises. We're going to continue to monitor that, but you can see there's some fog in that area there at Creedmoor Road. We'll continue to monitor that and let you know exactly how that's going to continue to affect your morning commute, particularly if you're coming in from Granville County and in Creedmoor Road as part of your morning commute. Isolating the live traffic sensors this morning, we're not seeing any delays on any of our other major roadways because of these foggy and changing conditions. Definitely pop us on the radio when you're heading out this morning. 101.5 HD3, also at 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
Ken, thanks. Breaking news, a man is hurt after a shooting in Durham. Officers responded to this scene on Stadium Drive near Horton Road. This was around 12:45 a.m. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there as investigators looked for evidence for about 3 hours. Police say the man who was shot is expected to recover. No word on any arrests.
This morning, we are getting an update on the effort to restore power to Western North Carolina. There are more than 300,000 homes without power. We'll hear about that recovery effort from Duke Energy in just a few minutes. But this afternoon, Governor Roy Cooper will get a look at the damage and relief operations in the Boone area. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson will also be in the mountains, meeting with local leaders about the recovery efforts. There are now 94 confirmed deaths in North Carolina, 61 in Buncombe County, and there are hundreds of people still missing.
The NCDOT is reminding people that travel in the western part of our state is limited to local traffic and relief efforts. Many of the supplies getting to the most rural areas are getting there by air. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is live at the Raleigh Executive Jetport in Sanford. And Heidi, volunteer pilots taking off from there plan to make several airdrops in the coming days.
Renee, good morning. This is just so important. I want you to take a look back here. You're going to see a private aircraft filled with supplies. These are things like socks, sleeping bags, food, all essentials in Western North Carolina. And that is not all. They've actually made 10 trips out there already. I want to take you over this way. Look at this hangar. It is completely full of essential supplies, and this is all reliant on volunteers out in this area. These have been dropped off here at this hangar for the last several days, all the way since Sunday. They're getting loaded into private aircraft and flown out there. And I'm going to actually take you over this way to one of our volunteers. This is Marcy, and she has some personal stories for people out on the ground who are actually receiving these supplies. Marcy, just tell me a little bit about that.
Yesterday, we learned that some of the supplies had went to people who hadn't eaten in 6 days. So the need is so dire. Like we need these donations now, and we need to get them out now. And if you're not able to bring the donations physically, you can ship them here to Raleigh Exec Jetport, 700 Rod Sullivan Road, Sanford, North Carolina, 27330. You can Amazon ship deliveries. Anything that's on the needed list, you can look at Elite Aircraft Services Facebook page to see what we really, really need.
And Marcy, something that really strikes me is that there's some supplies that you can bring here that you may not be able to bring to other locations. Tell me about that.
Yes, so we're one of the only donation locations around that can receive insulin. You can bring it in a cooler. We can refrigerate the insulin until we can get it into another cooler on an aircraft and get it shipped out immediately.
And as you hear, these supplies are just so important, things that people haven't had for days, and there could be more days to come. We're going to continue bringing you live updates this morning, and you can find information on how to donate on our website, WRALnews.com. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Sanford.
And more progress in all the devastation. Some headways being made to rebuild and reach people who have been cut off for days because of damaged roads. WRAL's Monica Casey is in Tryon. That's in Polk County. And Monica, you can already see there is new construction happening there.
That's right, Jeff. We have seen some small improvements here in Polk County, but still no power in much of this area and no cell service for people here. This major east-west connector 176 is also closed in multiple parts. We were able to get a view by going on some side streets. Take a look at your screen here. This is from Drone 5. We flew over some of that damage late yesterday afternoon. One bridge was completely washed out. Now a new one is almost complete. It took us multiple tries to get to that spot yesterday. Even on parts of roads around here that say they're open, you may find scenes like this, down trees, blocking traffic in one direction and power poles half toppled over. We've been monitoring Duke Energy's progress in multiple areas here in Western North Carolina since yesterday. Buncombe County's numbers have remained steady. About 4,000 people in Henderson County got power back between our check last night to this morning. But here in Polk County, it is still a bad situation. Duke Energy serves about 8,600 people in this area, and almost none of those customers have power right now. Live in Tryon, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
This morning, we're learning more about one of the many victims of Helene in Asheville. The Asheville T-shirt company shared this photo of one of its employees, Samira Zuby. Her mother tells the Asheville Citizen Times that Zuby was in their apartment when the water rose and washed the building away. Zuby worked as a graphic designer at Asheville T-shirt. In its Facebook post, the company says Zuby was loved and adored.
President Joe Biden will travel to Florida and Georgia today to see the damage from Helene in those states. His trip there comes one day after he was here in North Carolina. After touring Western North Carolina, President Biden announced the approval of 100% FEMA reimbursement for 6 months. He also announced he has directed the Defense Department to deploy up to 1,000 active duty soldiers from Fort Liberty to help. The president and Governor Roy Cooper took an aerial tour of the devastation before holding a briefing on the storm's impact at the State Emergency Operations Center in Raleigh.
This morning, the website poweroutage.us reports a little more than 300,000 homes in Western North Carolina are without power. almost a week after Helene hit, and that's down from about 1 million homes that were without power in the immediate aftermath of Helene. More than 230,000 Duke Energy customers are still without power. And Duke Energy spokesperson Jeff Brooks tells us crews are facing a lot of challenges trying to reach those severely damaged areas.
It's hard to get to some of those places. Some of the outages are in tough geographic areas that we have to get down to. I was hearing some crews today talking about hand carrying equipment because they just can't get there any other way.
Brooks says about half of the remaining outages will involve rebuilding the lines altogether. We want to thank you for your generosity during our WRAL Cares Telethon. About 2,500 people called in, and we raised nearly $650,000 for the relief effort in Western North Carolina. You can still add to that number. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or go to WRAL.com and search Help to donate. While you're there, you'll also find a list of other ways you can help support North Carolinians in need. A strike that could affect the prices you see at stores is entering a third day. How long tens of thousands of port workers say they plan to keep picketing.
And the search continues for a missing Lee County teacher, Kim Ashby, now missing for almost a week. We'll show you the dangerous conditions that search crews are facing.
And we're seeing some patchy dense fog across the area this morning. This is a look at Southern Pines. You'll find some of that in Moore County and some of that around the Triangle. I'll show you the map of where it looks the worst coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
613, gorgeous view here of Carolina Beach. That sun just starting to come up and you can see partly cloudy skies there. If you're headed to the coast this weekend, we still have the potential for rip current danger. It's a high risk along the northern Outer Banks and moderate for most of the rest of the coastline. Forecast of the beach is actually going to feel very nice. Ocean temperatures are still nice and mild. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s to low 80s on Saturday and Sunday. So it's one of those really nice fall weekends at the beach. Just a reminder, this is a time where a lot of folks have had plans to go to the mountains. Do not go to the mountains. More than 400 roads are closed, including the Blue Ridge Parkway. If you really want to take a look at the leaves, West Virginia, Northern Virginia are places that you could go, but we still have to stay away from Western North Carolina.
And happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, you can see the yellow indicating the fog that's blanketing parts of Raleigh and points north. We are monitoring this crash on Creedmoor Road, and you can see the fog in the area causing quite a bit of a slowdown there this morning. This is a serious crash and involved two vehicles. We did learn in the last 15, 20 minutes or so that both drivers suffered minor injuries. We're working to find out exactly how long that's going to affect your morning commute there coming from Granville County and Creedmoor Road. So avoid Creedmoor Road altogether this morning. Elsewhere, we're not seeing any major delays on our sensors this morning, which is good news. Pop us on the radio when you're heading out because you want to keep updated. 101.5 HD3, and of course you can also listen to us on 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
50,000 port workers who are now on strike for their third day say they will keep picketing until all their demands are met. There's no indication that any significant progress is being made in negotiations to end the strike at ports on the East and Gulf Coasts. The International Longshoremen's Association is demanding higher pay and a continued ban on using fully automated equipment. Analysts and retailers say the longer the strike lasts, the higher prices you'll see at stores.
We're learning about a crash in Cumberland County that killed a person and critically hurt another. The State Highway Patrol says two people were walking on Dunn Road Monday night when they were hit by a car. 19-year-old Robert Tatum Jr. died. 21-year-old Dorico Brewington has critical injuries. No charges have been filed against the driver.
Chris Lovingood here in the WRAL Live Center. In addition to watching what's unfolding in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas and Israel and Hezbollah, we're still following what's happening regarding Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This is video from overnight on an airstrike at a building that was in Kharkiv in Ukraine. At least 10 people were injured, including a 3-year-old child. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reacted to this attack by calling again for more military aid from Ukraine's Western allies. And you may recall last week, the Biden administration announced nearly $2.5 billion in support would be able to be given to Ukraine for additional support.
Chris, thanks. The family of a missing Lee County teacher says her husband is now safely home, but the search continues for Kim Ashby. She was swept away by floodwaters on Friday and has not been seen since. WRAL's Michelle McConaughey is here now with more on the desperate search to find her. Michelle.
Yeah, it really is desperate, Renee. It's been almost a week since Sanley Middle School teacher Kim Ashby was last seen. WRAL first shared the family's pleas for help finding her on Monday. Ashby was separated from her husband, Rod, when their Avery County home was carried down the Elk River in Helene's floodwaters. Her family says she and her husband traveled to this vacation property Thursday to remove items before the storm. They were inside the house when the Elk River swept it away. Search and rescue teams are on the ground searching for her, leaving no stone unturned, but the search efforts are treacherous. The Rowan County Sheriff's Office search and rescue team are hiking through some of the toughest mountain terrain.
The last couple days, these operations have turned from rescue to recovery. It's sad and unfortunate that some of these people may never be found.
And we certainly hope she is found. They are using all-terrain vehicles to get down the mountains, passing whatever and whoever is left over. They say even animals at this point looking for dry ground. The sheriff's office says they are not giving up hope. Her family saying, "We know she's scared. We just want her back home."
Wake County Sheriff's Office is gathering supplies to assist first responders and people who live in western North Carolina. The donation drive will take place at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. They're looking for non-perishable food, household cleaning supplies, hygiene products, baby supplies, bottled water, and pet food. Donations will be accepted today until next Tuesday from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. each day. Wake Med will also host a donation drive today. You can stop by any of the 3 hospital locations in Raleigh and North Raleigh and Cary as well. This is between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. They're looking for food, water, cleaning supplies, baby supplies, socks, and pet food. The need for dry socks. Keep infection away. 6:18 is the time right now. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. About to head into a stretch of some pretty good. We're going to get a break from this humidity.
Yeah, finally, as we get into next week. This morning, and because we do have so much moisture in the atmosphere, it's turned to fog in a few places. You can see some low cloud, almost fog there as we take a look at downtown Raleigh. Chapel Hill's looking fine. Apex a little foggy out there this morning, and Fayetteville's actually looking okay, at least right there downtown. I'll take a little closer look at Apex, and you can see down Salem Street that definitely looks foggy out there this morning. Southern Pines checking in at a quarter-mile visibility. It's about a half a mile in Rocky Mount and Roxborough, as well as around the Triangle area. So it's not everywhere, but you're going to run into some patchy, dense fog. It looks like it's beginning to lift a little bit right now in downtown Raleigh, but that could change. Foggy conditions really shift and change pretty quickly. High pressure will be building in today, and that will help to dry us out. We actually cleared out overnight last night, and we'll see a good bit of sunshine this afternoon. But a number of fronts will come swinging through. One of those on Saturday will bring us just a 20% chance of a shower. We're pretty dry Sunday and Monday night. Another front comes through, and this is what we get out of that front. Comfortable temperatures, low humidity, that nice crisp fall feel. It's been a little slow in coming. We had a taste of it back in September, but the last couple of weeks with the tropical systems pushing all this moisture into our area, it's not really felt like fall. But Tuesday and Wednesday, highs will be in the low 70s, and overnight lows will be down into the 50s. We'll have low humidity. It's going to feel nice and crisp, feeling great. We'll watch that front approaching us as we get through the weekend. This is Monday at around 8 p.m. That front pushes on through. That's going to drop our dew points, eliminate our humidity. The other thing this front's going to do is it moves southward. It's going to block all the tropical moisture down south from moving northward. We've been talking about this system potentially developing here in the Gulf of Mexico. We also have a couple other systems that are coming off the coast of Africa. Neither one of those look like they're going to be any problem to anyone. This one, however, only has a 30% chance of becoming tropical, but it could still be a low that holds a lot of moisture and brings a lot of heavy rain to Florida. Central and southern Florida could see anywhere from maybe 4 to 8 inches of rain with this over the next 7 days. Hurricane Kirk is a powerful hurricane. It's Cat 3, but it's just moving out into the Atlantic, moving north where the ocean temperatures will get cooler and it's going to fall apart. And then Leslie formed. It's a tropical storm. Same thing with Leslie. It's just going to stay way out here in the Atlantic, at least for the next week or so. And it looks like it's going to be making that turn northward just out to sea as well. Over the weekend, it's going to be fine to get out. It's going to feel a little summer-like, 85 on Saturday, 82 on Sunday. I'm looking forward to some of that cooler air, but we'll talk about what the humidity will feel like this weekend. Coming up, Ken.
Well, Elizabeth, at 6:21, you can see a live traffic sensor showing the yellow where the fog is really blanketing parts of Raleigh and surrounding communities. We continue to watch what's going on there on Creedmoor Road as a result of this crash. It's a serious crash involving two vehicles. We're told that both drivers were able to get out of the car suffering some minor bruises and injuries, but you can see it's red in both directions. Probably in one direction it's onlooker traffic, and the other direction in terms of coming into the capital city, it's a situation where they're trying to clear that accident scene, but we'll keep monitoring that for you this morning. But our live traffic sensors are not picking up any other major issues on our roadways, which is good. So listen, with the changing foggy conditions, pop us on the radio if you're heading out this morning, 101.5 HD3. You can also listen to us on 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
We're learning more about some of the people who did not survive Helene. What search and rescue crews tell us about one of the victims who was just 7 years old.
Also, a new batch of satellites is helping with search and rescue efforts near Asheville. How a professional NASCAR driver provided the resource for police.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
New photos are giving us a look at Millie Bobby Brown and Jake Bon Jovi's wedding day.
Pretty cool stuff here. Ken Smith with What's Trending, Ken.
Yeah, talk about a next-gen celebrity couple, right? The couple sharing these photos on Instagram showing their wedding earlier this year in Italy. The pictures are absolutely magical. In one photo, the groom poses with his famous father, rocker John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I recognize that guy to the right there with the silver hair. But also in the pictures, viewers learned that Matthew Modine, Millie's co-star in Stranger Things, officiated the ceremony. That was also a new thing. But,
so he didn't just photobomb, okay.
Right. No. He was officiating the ceremony.
Beautiful ceremony.
That's pretty cool.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, how about this? SpongeBob fans will soon be able to get their very own Krabby Patty at Wendy's. The fast food chain is launching a new meal promotion that celebrates the 25th anniversary of that cartoon. My God, 25 years?
Right. Well, it won't be around that long. It is a limited edition right there with a special Krabby Patty sauce they're going to make with it. Yeah. I wonder.
Get it while you can.
Thanks, Ken.
No power and no cell service. That's what the people of Tryon are still dealing with almost a week after Helene rolled through this area. We'll have the latest on recovery efforts here in Western North Carolina.
Some low cloud cover here in Durham this morning, but I'll show you when the sun breaks out and how much warmer it will be as we head into the weekend. Coming up.